as I continue to go through the ancient Greeks to show you who they were as Anunnaki, I found this site here where someone has already put down who they believe certain people are. I actually kind of disagree with some of it, so I thought it would be good to actually go through and explain why I disagree with some of these things. So this person here has put Anu, which is King Anu, as Kronos, which is fine. They've put Nana down as Osiris. So this is Greek column, Egyptian column, Greek column, and Roman column. And Nana was actually the offspring off of Enlil, as you see there, whereas as far as all my research has showed, Marduk's side of the family, which is Enki, would have been Ptah, Marduk, which was Ra, and so on, going down, and he had obviously different children, Marduk did, in the Egyptian era. So I don't agree with Nana as Osiris at all, because Osiris would have been one of Marduk's side, not Enlil's side. Ninharshag, who was the sister of Enki and Enlil, they've put down as Athena. Now, Ninharshag was 10,000 years ago old, cracked, wrinkled, and bending over because of her age. So to have her as Athena, which was 3,000 years ago, doesn't make sense at all to me. They've put Dumuzi down as Ptah, which again doesn't work for me, because Ptah would have been the father of Ra, which would have been Marduk. So Dumuzi was an offspring of Enlil. Again, doesn't make sense to me on that one. Enki they've put down as Poseidon and Neptune. That's correct. Enlil they've put down as Zeus, Jupiter. Correct. Marduk they put down here as Ra, Horus. No, you can't have Ra and Horus. It's Ra. Horus was an offspring off of further down from Ra, so you can't have both. Apollo, and then they've wrote Apollo again, so that's not quite right. Ningazida they've done as Thoth and Hermes, which is possible, which is where I go along with that version. So as you see, I'm running out of time, but as you see, there's other people have got different thoughts, so always do your own research instead of always listening to me. And I must just say, if I do ever say I'm the only person that's found something out on some of my other videos, which I have, it's not me being big-headed, it's you would put up a post on your social media if you won something or did an achievement. 40 years of research, that's why I say, and I'm proud of myself, that's why I say these things. I sometimes get people saying that white man has changed. I get a lot. That the old Sumerian tablets to match what they want it to believe, and even though I've asked thousands of times, please give me proof, this is the sort of answers I get, that hey, we've got things wrong and it's been changed. So here is Ivan Finkel, and he's the curator of the British Museum, and this is a tablet they have, just one of many.
So this is a dictionary. It's what Assyriologists...
So it's a Sumerian dictionary, so that's how we know we've got it right. And here is Ishtar. The British Museum's agreeing that Ishtar was a real person. Ayana in... as we know also as Anunnaki.
This tablet on the left, the descent of Ishtar.
See, so everything's matching up so far, and believe it or not, the Library of Nineveh and Alexandria Library actually had the clay tablets like this. They would make copies of them, which means we actually have two or three, sometimes 4 sets of the same thing, so they weren't. I love a good conspiracy, but I still can't believe people think that dinosaurs never existed. First of all, what benefit would there be in creating fake bones and then making up different creatures around the world? For what benefit? I don't see the logic in that. But it's not always paid for people that actually find the dinosaur bones. There's, for example, there's a 12-year-old boy out here that actually spotted some dinosaur bones, and a girl spotted dinosaur footprints. And the first dinosaur bones was actually found in 1677. So what do you think they'd done? Do you think they thought, do you know what, in 1677, do you think they thought, oh, let's make up some bones and ring round all the other museums around the world? Well, actually, telephones didn't come into existence until 200 years later. So they would have had to have hoped that everyone for 200 years would have gone along with their lies. Crazy. I've been asked a few times, where can you listen to my Our True History podcasts, and I've told people Spotify. Unfortunately, they've been coming back saying that Our True History is this person and talking about history of black man according to the Bible. That is not mine, so if you want to listen to that, that's fine, but my one, you would need to just simply type in Our True History, and there I am. Mark Thomas is an alias. And look for the monk holding the skull. But if you also want to know where my podcasts are, they're on my website, which is ourtruehistory.co.uk, and you can click on direct links here to go to Apple, Spotify, etc. They're all on there, and also they're actually just here straight away. You can just play. You don't need to have any of those other podcast type things. You can just listen to them all here. And also the videos are the Eye of Sahara. Some people believe it's Atlantis. It's not. First of all, there is no evidence whatsoever of any civilization there other than just rocks going up in a formation. This was also in Africa here, whereas the Anunnaki, which were the Atlanteans, if you watch my previous video, I conclude successfully that they were. The Anunnakis at any one point was down here in South Africa, what they called the Abzu. And even mainstream say that the Eye of Sahara was, they believe, formed when Pangaea started to pull apart. Pangaea, we're talking millions and millions of years ago, whereas Atlantis was 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, as a difference of millions of years. And even Plato admits that it was sunk, whereas as you can clearly see there in the picture, it's not sunk. And also the Emerald Tablets of Thoth also say it was sunk. So there is no evidence whatsoever that the Eye of Sahara is Atlantis. There's a Russian boy that seems to think that he is a reincarnation of an alien that was on Mars, in other words, a Martian. I have a few issues with his story. Basically, teachers are saying that he was a very smart boy, blah, blah, blah. And therefore whatever he says is probably true about Mars. However, there are some huge discrepancies. So first of all, it says here that the boy believes there are other children here on Earth that are reincarnations of what they called the Indigo Children, and they survived a nuclear war on their own planet. The boy then says that many Martians were immortal. Many, not all. That's a cop-out. Many Martians were immortal, and they stopped aging at 35-year-old, as per him, which is weird, because why is he dead and now reincarnated if he was immortal? But hey, they are extremely tall and capable of interstellar travel. He said that they would have to hide in air raid shelters because the Martians were having wars with themselves, nuclear wars. And here it says Martians could travel in time and space and would be flying around in spaceships. First of all, the Anunnaki were on Mars. Not one mention in their ancient texts. Now, I know which one I would rather go by, ancient texts or a little boy that's referring to all sorts of fantastical things. And I say fantastical because if you've got time travel, then you would be able to go back and stop yourself from using those nuclear weapons on yourselves, I would have thought. But it gets better. Here it says the giant boy from Mars, meaning because they were 7 foot supposedly, was dubbed by netizens in 7 foot tall. The boy claims that he'd been sent by the Martian race to save the human race. So he was sent back from succumbing to a nuclear war, in other words, us destroying ourselves. He claims that his own race, which was the Martian's race, was originally wiped out thousands of years ago. Thousands, not millions, thousands. We didn't have nuclear weapons back then. So he's not only to travel forward in time to now, to warn us, because we didn't have nuclear weapons thousands of years ago. We've only got nuclear weapons in the last 100 years or so. So if his race could travel forward in time, they would have travelled forward in time and seen that they've had nuclear weapon issues, in other words, fighting each other. Therefore, they would have stopped their own nuclear war if they could travel forward in time. But clearly they didn't, because obviously they're now, no one's there. But again, going back to the original tablets, there was no one else on Mars in terms of a humanoid sentient race when the Anunnaki were there, and I will rather always go with the written text than some boy that's got holes in his story, as this is.